Alright, here we're reviewing for everything that we've done this semester. This will likely be 2 different videos. So I'm going to see how far I get in this video before the bell rings. So can you simplify polynomials? Can you combine like terms? So we have 8v cubed minus 7v cubed. So 8 take away 7 is 1v cubed. You can cross them out. Be careful when you subtract. We have 3v squared. I know it's blurry. Subtract a negative. Now, when you subtract a negative, that's really going to make it a plus 3. So 3 plus 3 is 6v squared, and you can cross them out. And then negative 7 v, there's no other v here, so it's just negative 7v. And when you subtract a negative, again, you're adding 6. Let's try that again. You should press pause and try it first. I know it's blurry. All right, so you try it first. Combine like terms. So I get 2n to the 4th, because when you subtract a negative, you're adding 1 plus 1. I see n's. Again, when you subtract a negative, you're adding 2n, so it's negative 4 plus, that's negative 2. And then negative 6 subtract 5 is negative 11. The next skill, can you multiply polynomials? Can you FOIL? I can FOIL. I know you can. So let's do that. Multiply it out. See if your answer matches my answers. You should always try it first. So did you get the same answer I did when I multiplied it out? And then combine like terms. And you get your answer. Here, this is just going to require a bigger box. That's a line from Jaws. Ever watch that movie? The Big Shark? They have a boat, and they realize how big the shark is. And they said, we're going to need a bigger boat. So we're going to need a bigger box. Here we go. So we're going to multiply it. That's 21p to the 3, 3p squared, negative 12p, negative 42p squared, negative 6p, and positive 24. So combine like terms, I get 21. I get 3 take away 42. Negative 6 and negative 12, and then 24. All right. How about dividing? This one I think you really have to practice. This is long division. You can't do synthetic because of the 9. I need to make sure there are no zeros here, which there's not, no missing powers. And then do you remember how to divide? Just power term divided by power term. So 9 divided by 9, that's 1. And then divide the variables by subtracting the exponents. There's step 1. And then multiply. So n squared times 9n is 9n cubed. N squared times 2 is 2n squared. And then I'm going to subtract. So negative 16 subtract 2 is negative 18. And then I do it again with 50. And again, negative 18 divided by 9 is negative 2. And subtract the exponents. That's going to be negative 18n squared and negative 4n. Subtract again. Be careful. You're subtracting a negative, so it's adding 4, so it's 54. Bring down the last number. 54 divided by 9 is 6. So that's 54n and 12. And then the question is, what do I do with that remainder, which is negative 3? And the answer is we write it as a fraction. So negative 3 and then over what you divided by, 9n plus 2. All right, let's practice again. Number 6, can you do long division? Yes, there is one long division on the exam. All right, any missing powers? No. And start dividing. 2 divided by 2, that's 1x squared. Make sure when you subtract a negative, you're adding. Bring down the next one. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that's 5x. That's 10x squared minus 35x. Again, when you subtract a negative, you're adding. So that's positive 4x and negative 16. Divide, that's 2. And then what do I do with the remainder? So again, when you subtract a negative, you're adding 14. That's negative 2. So that negative 2 is the remainder over 2x minus 7. You should try this. All right, next one. I don't need to do long division, so I won't. So the 0 of 4, negative 2, or the opposite sign, is positive 2. There's the start. Then we have 10, negative 22, 14, and negative 26. And then how do I write that? It always starts, whatever the degree is, it's 1 degree less, and then we start filling in the numbers and the letters. That's -6. And then the remainder, same thing as what we did before. Let's try that again. +3, 1, -2, -11, 28. That's 1, multiply, add, multiply, add. So it starts with 1 degree less, so it's 1p squared minus 1p, subtract 8. And then the remainder is written as a quotient, a fraction, 4 over p minus 3. All right, that's dividing. Hey, do you know how to factor? Maybe, right? So I have 4 terms, so I'm going to factor by grouping them. So the first two, I'm going to factor out of 4. That's x squared plus 6. And then factor out a -5. Again, that's x, not x squared. Is it x squared? No, so let's try it again. This is 4x squared they have in common. And that leaves me with x plus 6. You know what made me pause? Is that when I factor out a -5, I got x plus 6. And these need a match. So I went back and go, what mistake did I make? So that these match. And now I have 4x squared minus 5 and x plus 6. Not a difference of squares because you can't square root 5, so that's it, fully factored. Try that again for number 10. Can you factor it? See if I make the same mistake again. So 5m squared, divide out, that's m plus 5. The next two, 7, divide, that's m plus 5. And so it gives me m plus 5 and 5m squared plus 7. And that's it. This is a trinomial with bigger exponents. Same idea though, 30 and 13. Two numbers that multiply to 30 and add to 13. 10 and 3. So this is not going to be x, but x squared plus 10 and x squared plus 3. So you just change the exponent so it matches, and that's it as far as you can go. Same thing here. What two numbers multiply to 14 and add to 9? That's 7 and 2. That's going to be x squared plus 7. X squared plus 2. All right, turn the page. Keep factoring. This one requires us to go 6 times 20, which is 120, and 23. Oh, this is going to challenge me. It's not 20 times 6. What else could it be? I'm going to break this down and see what other combination could work for me. So I also see 24 and 5. No. 15 and 8. I like that one. So see how I broke down the number? Like 20 is 4 times 5 and 6 is 3 times 2. And I was trying to figure some combinations here that could work. So I went 5 times 3 and 4 times 2. That's 15 and 8, and that one fit. Just if you care about how my brain worked there. And then we have to divide. So we have x plus, oh, we should have factored out an x too at the beginning. So let's, an x goes into everything evenly. I didn't see that. So there's an x in front. I'll put it at the end. So we have x plus 15, x plus 8. There's still an x here. And then I'm going to divide by 6. I'll put the x back in front. Now the challenge is this needs to be in lowest terms. So divide by 3 and divide by 2. Now I can do it. So that slide the 2 in front, slide the 3 in front, and you factored it. Let's see if I make the same mistake here. Factor out an x first, and you have 4x squared plus 12x plus 5. Again, this is going to be one where we're going to do a diamond and divide. 5 times 4 is 20. That's smaller. And 12, that's 10 and 2. So we have an x and then 10 and 2. Divide by 4. Again, it has to be in lowest terms. So divide by 2, and you get 5 over 2. Divide by 2, and you get 1/2. Then you can slide the denominator in front, and you have your answer. All right, again, factor out an x. And then I got 10 times 2 and 9. That's going to be 5 and 4. You should always try it first, right? And so we have x plus 5x plus 4. Divide by 10. They have to be in lowest terms. So I'm going to divide by 5 divide by 2, then slide, and you have your answer. That's a 2. And that's a 2. All right. One more. Factor out an x. 15 times negative 4 is negative 60 and negative 17. That's going to be negative 12 and negative 5. So we have an x, we have negative 12 and negative 5. Divide by 15. Simplify it. So divide by 3. Divide by 5. And then you have your answer. So I'm going to slide the 5 in front and to slide the 3 in front. And now it's fully factored. Great practice. All right, evaluate using the remainder theorem. So that's 5 goes into, I know I didn't give as much room as I should have here, but it's going to work. 6, negative 30, negative 4, and 9. I'm sorry I didn't give you more room. So 6, that's 30, that's 0, that's negative 4, negative 20. You can always do it on another piece of paper maybe, or you can figure out, we can figure it out, right? And then negative 11. There's your answer. So f at 5 equals negative 11. Here again, I'm going to squish this in. Notice the sign doesn't change for this evaluation. It's at negative 4 means you use negative 4. 2, 3, negative 14, 22. Oh, I need a 0 on this one. Notice we're missing a power there. So we have 2, negative 8, we have negative 5, we have 20, we have 6, we have negative 24, negative 2, and 8. So that 8 is important. So f at negative 4 is equal to 8. That's the remainder theorem. All right, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to do another video because the bell's going to about to ring. All right, Mr. G Math over and out. I'm proud of you. We got halfway there almost. We'll do the rest. Keep pressing pause and doing your best.